What is going on, guys? This is a bit of a different kind of video. I promise you I'm working on other stuff, but I've been having so much fun with Oblivion, I wanted to get this video out here. So, if you haven't been living under a rock, Bethesda Shadow Drop the Oblivion Remaster. It's wildly successful. As of the making of this video, yesterday or the day before, whenever the other day, when this gets uploaded, the other day, Bethesda tweeted out that over 4 million people have played the Oblivion Remaster. So they made their money back, and then some. It's profitable, and it got me thinking, Fallout 3 needs to get the treatment next. Which, if the rumors are true, there was apparently some leaked files during the Bethesda-Microsoft merger that Fallout 3 is getting made and is getting worked on, and surely after the success of Oblivion, it's 100% happening, and that has me excited. Now, you may think, Twitchy, what about New Vegas? Here's the thing, I love New Vegas. I've got over 1,000 hours between consoles and PC. I don't think it needs a remaster right now, because I think as in terms of an RPG, in terms of a Fallout game, it's pretty great. Fallout 3, on the other hand, has aged like spoiled milk, and has a lot of issues with it that could get course corrected in a remaster. On top of looking really ugly, it could really do with a remaster. Just looking at Oblivion, look how good that looks. So I think in today's video, we're going to kind of go over things I want to see in terms of a remaster for Fallout 3, what they could do, what I want them to do. And of course, I want to hear from you all. Let me know down below at the end of this video what you guys would like to see in a remaster of 3. Also, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. Helps your boy get into the algorithm. And if you're feeling super generous, maybe consider subscribing and turning on notification bells so you can keep up to date when I post. Without further ado, let's jump in and discuss what I'd like to see in a remaster of Fallout 3. I think a big thing is the skills feel kind of useless in 3. Except for like weapons, like speech is on a system where you have a percentage to get someone to give you more caps or agree to something. And honestly, I like how the speech is done in New Vegas because I think it's done really well. You have to have a set amount of skill points to actually get someone to agree to what you're working for. So you're not necessarily going to be powerful out the gate. A lot of the skills and perks feel kind of useless. Like, I'll start right and say unarmed feels kind of useless. Unarmed feels very weak compared to later entries. Like, I still think about this clip for New Vegas where someone's in the Deathclaw Sanctuary near Cottonwood Cove, and they just waste every single Deathclaw with, I think, a unique power fist or just a power fist and a whole lot of chems. Like, it gives you things like Iron Fist, but that's later in your run with unarmed, and there's not really a lot of unarmed good weapons to begin with. Power Fist, I can't remember, Power Fist is considered melee, but, you know, melee weapons are good and varied, guns are good and varied, but unarmed really suffers. So something like unarmed would need to be overhauled and improved upon. A lot of perks can feel pretty useless in the late game, so perks need to get an overhaul. I wouldn't mind seeing survival show up in some way, you know. That's something to think about. Like, I think skills as a whole in Fallout, when you compare to later entries, don't really work as well. And I think an overhaul of the skill system would be great. I think making leveling up feel more rewarding would be a good idea. There's so much they can do with the leveling system and making skills feel more useful and rewarding to use, especially something like unarmed. And also make more skill checks prevalent. Like, New Vegas had a lot of skill checks. 3 just had them here or there, and I don't think they're done to great effect. So giving us more skill checks to how we spec our character. With 3, you could pretty much max out all stats, pretty much without glitches. And I think making the leveling system better and more refined, where you can't just max out your entire character stats, but spec it to a certain way where that's the build you stick with through the entire game is never a bad thing, and I think wholeheartedly I would agree with that. I think being able to spec your character a certain way where you're not completely so overpowered all the time is good. It allows for more build variety, and I think that 100% behind all that. I feel like we talked enough about the skills. Let's talk about the one thing I think a remaster of 3 could it really need. So the big thing for me is I think Fallout 3 is pretty easy. It's a game for babies. I say that about a lot of games that I continuously played over and over again. And I kind of want to talk about it, you know? I think it needs a survival mode. Fallout 4 survival mode is, I think, perfectly well done. You don't have fast travel, you can only save on beds. You have to keep yourself hydrated, keep yourself fed, and constantly be looking for resources to keep yourself alive. Here's why I think a Fallout 3 having a survival mode would be a game changer, because I would argue that the Boston Commonwealth is far more survivable than the Capital Wasteland. They have more access to better water and food and ability to survive longer. The Capital Wasteland, you just don't have that. Your main saving point would be somewhere like Megaton, and having to transverse the Capital Wasteland to gain weapons and supplies to keep yourself fed and hydrated. A survival mode for Fallout 3 would make it exponentially harder, and I think that's a good thing, because I think, like I said, Fallout 3 is a game for babies. It's pretty easy, even on the hardest difficulty. You throw in a survival mode, it really makes you have to think and pause how you're going to go about traversing the Capital Wasteland. Do you go straight to Galaxy News Radio? Do you try to build yourself up as a character, level up, gain supplies, weapons, and armor, and then go to Galaxy News Radio? Me personally, I don't hit Galaxy News Radio till I've completely leveled up to like 5 or 10 levels. Even more so, I go ahead and get the thing you need to do to help through to get Galaxy News Radio out more already done before I show up, so I can go further into the story. Like, there is so much that you could do with survival mode. Maybe introduce, I talk about crafting in a second, but maybe introduce crafting in a way that feels meaningful to the Capital Wasteland, allowing yourself to craft better items, better gear, better weapons, maybe even create medicines that you need, be able to purify water, purify food. You know, it could go a long way in being a game changer for a remaster of 3. And I think we can all agree adding new difficulties and making you play differently is never a bad thing. I think another thing would be a good idea is reintroducing legendary enemies into a remaster 3. We've seen them in New Vegas. Well, New Vegas has got a legendary blowfly, and we got stronger death claws, but 4 has legendary enemies, 76 has legendary enemies, and they all drop unique weapons. And unique weapons, whether it be armor or it would be whether it be armor or weapons. And I think that would be a good way to add more weapon variety into the game, or an armor variety. And I think that would go a long way in terms of more replayability. Fallout 4 does it really well. 76, for what I got to play before I was unfortunately banned, did it really well. And I think a remaster of 3 should have it. Like, there's one place that's an unmarked location called Rockopolis, where you go to get the unarmed bobblehead and find the corpse of Argyle, if you don't know Herbert Daring Dashwood on the radio serial. I think that would be a good place to have, say, a Yaogwai or a Deathclaw, or even a legendary mole rat that drops an unarmed weapon, unique unarmed weapon, or an unarmed piece of armor that helps your unarmed build. Like, have legendary enemies at static locations that drop certain weapons and armor that you can only find there, that change every time. Like, give us more reason to go into the metro tunnels to seek out stronger legendary enemies and be able to face them head on, which kind of leads into my next point of bringing crafting into 3, making items feel useful, which I guess a lot of people don't mind the crafting in 3 or 4 and 76. I think that would be a good way to make the game have more life in it, being able to modify your weapons, modify your armor, heck, even modify your power armor. I think that's probably one of my favorite aspects of 4, is being able to modify power armor the way I want, whether it's improving its protection or giving it a jetpack. T60 all the way. I'm a big sucker for the T51. And I think that would be an interesting thing to do. Have legendary enemies come into a remaster of 3. Have crafting come into 3. Being able to modify our weapons and armor the way we see fit to fit our playstyle. I think that'd be great. Give us more reason to explore areas that we normally wouldn't have ever explored before because there's unique legendary enemies to face there. I think that'd be awesome, to be honest. I think we can all agree adding more variety to Fallout 3, and let's face it, has a few issues, would be a good thing. I think also after completing every DLC, we could have enemies from those DLCs show up in the wasteland. Like after you beat Mothership Zeta, you get to fight Zacians, and they carry the weapons that you find in the game, as well as more alien power cells, because that's you only get a set amount. I think that would be a good idea. I think having raiders come from the pit and you can take them on. They've got unique weapons and legendary weapons specifically for the pit, and that's in the capital wasteland. I think finding denizens showing up from Point Lookout would be great. Fighting outcasts from Operation Anchorage would be great. I think there's so much you can do with a remaster of 3, and I think that's probably what they're going to do. They're gonna upgrade the visuals and put a lot more effort into it, and maybe bring back cut content. Again, there's so much they can do with it. It's kind of insane with the success of Oblivion that this is now a huge possibility. Coincidentally, I don't have really other things I'd like to see, but this is kind of a minor thing I'd like to see. I want the unique weapons, the legendary weapons and gear we find in the game. For the weapons, I want them to sound unique, look unique, feel unique. Same with the legendary armor. I want it to look unique and feel unique. A lot of the problems with a lot of Bethesda games is a lot of the legendary weapons you find scattered throughout the wasteland is they don't look and really feel unique. They sound about the same as their regular counterparts and look about the same as their regular counterparts. And I'd like to see a bit of a change up with that with this remaster. I think it'd be a good thing, to be honest. And I think we can all agree unique weapons looking and sounding different from their regular counterparts is never a bad thing, wholeheartedly. And it's just something I thought about, while working on this video, that I want unique weapons, legendary gears, legendary armor to look and feel and sound different. And I think that'd be a good thing, separating it from its the original release, is making something like one of my favorite legendary weapons, the unique Chinese assault rifle, look different, sound different, and feel different. Same with there's a unique set of leather armor in the game that just looks like regular leather armor. So making it look different and seem different I think is always a minor improvement, and I'd love for them to do that. But all in all, there's a lot I'm hopeful for a remaster 3, and I hope they do a good job with it. And I think we can all agree it will sell like crazy. They could shadow drop it like they did with Oblivion Remaster, and it'll just go absolutely crazy and sell a lot. And that's just all I got to say on today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a bit something I wanted to do. I am working on the condemned video. I hope to get it done within the next next week or so. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I love you all. I'll see you all in the next one. Take it easy.